Hello, everyone, and welcome again to another episode of Liberal White Dudes. Again, I am Andrew.
I'm Jared.
I'm AJ.
Thank God.
We are Liberal White Dudes. Let's kick off tonight with the big news from Friday, which was the Supreme Court telling Texas and some other states, including New California and New Nevada, to suck it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically a 9-0 opinion. The two dissenters were Thomas and Alito, and they said, hey, we feel like in general practice we should always hear arguments from the states, but also this is garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's applaud the third of the court that is Trump appointees for somehow not being ridiculous.
Yeah. Not what we would expect from them. It's off brand, but I appreciate it.
Well, in a way, deep down, I do expect it. I do expect our Supreme Court to uphold our democracy as part of their job. I really do expect it to that degree. As much as many of those justices disappoint me in so many ways, I certainly would expect this. Thank God they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding.
That's one of the things that they're learning. I mean, there's a lot of outrage I've seen. On Twitter, there's a handle called Parlor Takes, and they screenshot things from Parlor so that you don't have to. And it's a nice thing to just kind of get a good look into them. And a lot of them are talking about sedition and a bunch of nonsense. But one of the nice things is that they're sort of starting to understand that just because they were appointed by Trump doesn't mean that he runs them or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Trump's also realizing that at the same time.
It's a bit of a joint realization.
Sure he is. Like he's suddenly started railing on the Supreme Court on Twitter, and even his picks. It's like, this guy.
Why you're railing on? First of all, the absurdity of just a statement railing on the Supreme Court on Twitter from the president is. I mean, the the level of absurdity just in that. I can't even with that.
I remember cruising down the end of 2016 and hearing a lot of people saying, well, but once he's in office, I mean, surely he won't be tweeting. That won't be something that happens. Or, he'll become more presidential and stop calling people names or any number of things that he continues to do to this day.
Yeah. Still does.
4 years later. Anyway, I thought we'd lead off with that because it's good news. I did read a bit of chatter also on Facebook about how not to get complacent, not to think that this is the end of the line as far as the number of crazy things that will happen between now and January 20th.
Sure.
There was a rally in D.C. Of Proud Boys, and I'm not sure if you get a chance to see the kilts that they were wearing, these yellow and black kilts, just a bunch of dudes who wanted to see what it was like to wear a skirt. It's pretty cute.
Taking back their masculinity. You know how it is.
Yeah, taking back the skirt back.
That's, getting in step behind.
If only they'd known that was always okay.
Yeah.
If only.
If only their parents had told them that was always okay.
Yeah, they're always on the wrong side of that argument. They're always saying boys shouldn't wear skirts, and then they're like, well, this is a kilt. It's like that whole Emperor's New Groove. That's a harp, and that's a dress.
Robe.
And Alex Jones was there. For some reason, he's still somebody that people listen to. Just another shout out to another terrible person. Next thing I want to talk tonight about is our viewer mail. We've gotten a bit of engagement since we started putting up our content, and I will lead off with some viewer mail that I received. I'm not sure if you can read that.
Envelope and everything.
This isn't how I
Envelope,
received
yeah.
it at all. It was electronic, obviously. It was digital. But nothing beats opening an envelope and pulling out a piece of paper.
I was going to say, if one of our viewers has your home address, that might be an issue, actually.
Yeah, it'd be very concerning.
If you did receive it that way, that's
he
a problem.
actually knocked and handed it to me. Which was awkward.
They've been in a camper outside for some days, and then finally...
So, Scott P. from Pennsylvania says, "Why is this shit in my feed?" Well, hey, thanks for your question, Scott. Let me tell you, the reason is you're probably two of the three things in our title, judging by your Facebook. I don't want to make any assumptions, but judging by your Facebook profile pic. And I will say, just give us a listen. I mean, the kind of things that you listen to and not along with, maybe you disagree with us. Disagree with us in our chat, and we can talk it out, man. We can hug it out. We'll virtually hug it out. Thanks for writing in, Scott.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Anybody else got anything?
AJ, you want to go?
Yeah, I got one actually. This did not come via mail. It was digital as well. This is actually, I thought this was a great question. This is from a Becky R, and she says, if you could somehow guarantee Trump would see or read your tweet at him, what would you say? So if you knew I tweeted at Donald Trump directly, of course. I think we all have.
Sure. I mean, he's there.
So I guess the question is, if you could somehow guarantee he actually saw your tweet, so you knew you got this short message directly to him, what would you say?
Do you have a personal answer for that one?
I was a little curious to see what you guys say.
All right. Well, for me, I think it would just kind of be a calming, it's okay to lose message. Nothing aggressive, nothing that he needs to be defensive about, but it's okay that you lost. And, maybe there's some lose gracefully videos you could watch, maybe Fox News he should tune into Lou Dobbs and Lou Dobbs should just be there like, hey man, we lost and that happens. Everybody loses sometime. And there's this like rainforest music maybe in the background, like one of those calming, soothing.
Does he have a cameo? Can we get Lou Dobbs on cameo?
CDs, pay him to tell Trump that. But yeah, I'd spend a little time massaging it if I knew for sure that he was going to see it. But yeah, something along those lines.
I like that.
I might send a couple of links to like maybe some nursing homes in the area. I don't know. There's it depends. I guess it really depends.
I feel like if I knew he was really gonna read it, I really did. I think I would. I think I would be a little less graceful. It wouldn't be. I don't think it'd be aggressive, but I think I would say, no matter what you tell yourself, and you obviously do tell yourself a lot, deep down, you are a gigantic loser. And most of this country does not agree with you and does not think you should be president. Never thought you should have been president. You are an impeached president and you should live with that. You're gonna live with that forever. And I really want someone to tell him that and he can't he has nothing to say, no response. It's 100% true.
Just hold this.
Yeah. So
right.
that was the question.
Yeah. Thank you,
Becky. Yeah.
I pulled this one here. I pulled this one. It's from I wrote it down. Brandon S asks, and it was directed at me specifically. That's why I decided to pick it up. Why is this Zoomer on this podcast? And because I feel like someone needs to be a representative. I feel like there's a lot of people, especially a lot of my generation of folks who talks about politics, but not in a really constructive way. Just kind of like posting whatever they're feeling like is true at the moment and kind of leaving it at that. Like, don't disagree with me or you're wrong. And like, that's the whole take. And I don't necessarily agree with that approach.
Yeah. We'll do a whole chat about cancel culture, and I don't want to necessarily get into that.
Yeah, don't
right
bleed over
now.
episodes.
But yeah, I mean, I think that young people don't vote, right? Statistically, young people don't vote. They are in the streets. They'll go out in the streets in a pandemic and yell and scream and, get right in the face of other people and then not vote.
And then still not vote.
Yeah.
Real quickly, we do have a chat. Someone says, I'm presuming if they could tweet directly at Trump, they would just say, "You suck, LOL."
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, you have that once in a lifetime opportunity for him to see your tweet. Why waste it with a reasoned argument?
Yeah.
Yeah, just direct, right to the point.
Yeah. So
I like that.
I give that 4 out of 5 figs. 4 figs about that.
4 figs. 4.5 maybe on a good day.
4.5 figs.
All right. Meat of our program tonight is to chat a little bit about the death penalty. Trump, on his way out of office, is rushing to do a lot of things. He's made a bunch of appointments. He's put people in places of power that just make no sense. Kellyanne Conway got one. Just all kinds of nonsense going on right now. And firing people who have been doing their jobs well.
Handing out pardon deals.
Yeah, for years. So
Dishing
anyway.
out. Yeah,
just
like Werther's Originals, just dishing them out like my grandpa.
Yeah, just a slew of garbage.
Slew of linty pocket candy.
On the way out the door. But one of the things he's doing is killing a bunch of folks. He has decided to ramp up killing a bunch of people. Taking the moratorium off of the federal death penalty and then just putting people to death. And it has been rapid fire. Now, there's a lot of discussion about, should we even have the death penalty? Should we not? AOC.
Right?
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Tweeted, abolish the death penalty. That was it. No articles, no anything. And it got thousands of responses and thousands of retweets. I mean, it's a very contentious issue even today. So I'm going to go ahead and start the clock on AJ and have you tell us how you feel about the death penalty. Go.
Okay. Jesus. Where to begin? No, I do not agree with the death penalty. First death penalty laws date back to the 18th century, and they're horribly archaic. In terms of abolition, it's appalling that it's still even a discussion, in my view. Back in 1976, Supreme Court moved away from abolition because they said that the punishment of death does not invariably violate the Constitution. And the court ruled that the new death penalty statutes contain objective standards to guide, regularize, and rationally reviewable the process of imposing a sentence of death. I think it's atrocious. 2 black men have been executed within 2 days, and 2 more are set to die before Biden's inauguration. It's appalling. It's disgusting. It's despicable. And we should be ashamed. Trump, especially.
Yeah, you did it inside of the minute. Didn't even get the red bars. Nice job, AJ.
Hot takes and quickly.
Yeah.
Threw him out there.
Making your feelings known. So, question from me. I know that we have some, differing viewpoints. I'm probably the least liberal of the three of us, even though we all identify as liberals. I'm forced to identify as a liberal because the right has gone so far off the right that if you do a median or a mean, or if any of our math majors out there want to give me a better way to calculate it, the midpoint for our political discussion now is just so far right that I am cast in the role of a liberal. But let me ask you this, AJ. Is it mostly because you don't think the U.S. should be killing anyone, or there's no crime severe enough to warrant, summary execution, or what's just your general why we should?
Just for a second.
I think the biggest thing is that countries who execute. Sorry, what?
Sorry, I'm interrupting that. The chat says, from what I've read, 9 people have died because of the death penalty under Trump's administration overall. I don't know if that's a lot. I don't know if that's a little, but it's an interesting thing to know over the course of
Yeah.
the sport. 2 of them were in the past 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, Andrew, I'd say countries who execute commonly cite the death penalty as a way to deter people from committing crimes. I guess my biggest beef is that the claim has been repeatedly discredited. There's really not a lot of evidence that the death penalty is any more effective in reducing crime than life imprisonment. I know there's a lot of arguments that, this is a really deep issue, I think, for a lot of people, but I think that's probably one of my biggest deterrents is I wouldn't say I don't think the U.S. should never kill anyone. Certainly, I believe there have been just cause when it comes to certain conflicts and war that have taken place. I just think that like I said, if you're going to cite the death penalty as a way to deter people from committing crime and you don't have any good data backing up that it does that, then why are we still executing people when the possibility that they could either A, be innocent, which is horrifying, or B, the fact that taking another human life has not shown that it deters people from doing it. So I guess that's where I would fall on that.
Yeah, I mean that was the thing for me. I mean, ultimately, I'm pro death penalty in the idea of it. I understand the vengeance of it if someone killed your loved one. It's the famous answer from Michael Dukakis in the debates versus George Bush. It's where the moderator was like, "What if your wife was raped?" and he didn't have a good answer to how he would feel about that. I was like, that seems pretty simple from a guttural standpoint. Your vengeance and fury would be unmatched, right? If someone killed one of your loved ones, but that's not the way that we should judge our punishments or our laws.
Yeah, entertaining a grotesque hypothetical about someone who is not an argument. That's a hypothetical. We're not.
And the first time
no merit.
The Innocence Project came out and said this guy didn't do it, and here's the DNA evidence, and here's the other stuff. Let's release him from the. Oh wait, what? 2 years ago we killed him. Oh, I mean, the first time that happened, and that has happened countless times, but the first time it happened, we should have said, well, we just don't do this anymore.
Yeah.
There's always a chance that person is innocent, and life behind bars is not great.
Yeah.
That is a substantial punishment. You've taken away their life and liberty. Killing them at this point is just there's that gut revenge, lizard brain, like, yeah, put him in the ground, and we're hearing a lot of that, on Parler. You want to hear a lot of threats of violence and death? Head on over to Parler. Don't, by the way.
Don't actually. Don't
favor.
Especially if you've just eaten. Don't spend any time.
If you're easily upturned, then don't.
Don't spend any time on Parler. So, I mean, it's something to talk about, something to revisit as far as why do we stand with basically barbaric nations as one of the few nations that still kills its own citizens for crimes.
I mean, put it on the list of all the other sad lists we end up on. As a nation.
I'm sort of for it in principle, child molesters and the Ted Bundys and the Jeffrey Dahmers and the there's various folks, John Wayne Gacy's, where I'm just like, I get it. That person has lost their soul retention rights.
And that's one of the things. That's one of the things I almost said just now is that there are some people where I can see the argument for them being, because I think the thing ultimately is that I feel like prison sentences should be about rehabilitation. I feel like that's like the whole bag. I feel like the criminal justice system should be about rehabilitating people and then bringing them back into the fold. I think there are just some people you can't. And I don't know how you go about getting rid of those people. I guess a life sentence is what you do without the chance of parole. And there is that sort of lizard brain, the like monkey brain that like wants to just murder them. Like, that guy can just die in a fire. But
if you possess like 5 ounces of marijuana on your person and you're walking down the street, I mean, that's just a great example of why you should lose your liberty and go to jail.
Not at all. Let's
an absurdist argument.
Sure.
there's varying degrees of crime, but yeah, I can see. So in principle, I can see those people, not using U.S. tax dollars to keep those people alive for the rest of their life. Like, why am I paying meals for Ted Bundy? Like, what?
Yeah.
We're not doing the things we should do social service wise for children, foster care or, any of those things, right? We're not doing everything we can do for the children in our country who are going hungry. Sure. And yet we're feeding that guy.
Right. Yeah. I think one thing I would say for it is that just quite simply, I just feel like something you said earlier. If you're a nation that kills its own citizens, that's a slippery slope. That's just where I'm at with that. I just feel like if you're a nation that has a set of rules that line up in a way that allows you to just kill your own citizens, I think there's a better way. Especially because, like I said, I don't feel like the data supports the reason behind it, essentially. So
yeah, so that's me in principle. I get it. In practice, it's been atrocious.
Yeah, just horrendous.
It's been used just by racists in the South to kill black people, which is obviously not. I don't want the law to ever be on the side of racism, and all too frequently it is, right? It's been used to scapegoat someone who's mentally disabled for someone else who actually, committed the crime. So yeah, I mean, in practice, it's just been atrocious, executing innocent people. I mean, how can you, when they exonerate someone who's been in prison for a year, I'm blown away. I feel like that enough should be enough. Like, you ring the bell, you alarms should go off that our justice system is not doing everything it should for the people that it is entangling in its net. When you hear about people who are just can't afford bail, were accused of, the backpack kid as an example. Somebody in the chat can tell me his name and remind me, but ends up at Rikers because he stole a backpack and can't afford bail, and he's sitting there forever, right?
I mean, it's like I said, it's you're getting to a point where we're losing sight of why we're even doing this. Like you said, if you break down very particular cases, very heinous crimes, very high profile crimes, or just, it obviously in those regards, you think, it's hard to not agree with that result. But like you said, in practice, it's atrocious considering that we are literally putting innocent citizens to death because the system's flawed.
Yeah, the system is full.
It's just a top down. It's a top down thing about I think the criminal justice system in general is that the death penalty is just one very small facet of a very, very broken thing. And I think you got to make those incremental little, bolt adjustments to fix all the nonsense that happens.
Well, that was one of the things I was going to say towards rehabilitation. I mean, we're not close to that.
No, not remotely.
Rehabilitating anyone who enters this system, from everything I've read, we are making people worse every time you drop them in this system, and then making life harder for them when they get out. It's just awful. Calling it a justice system is a misnomer as well. We should probably find better messaging, liberals.
No kidding.
What do we call it? The law enforcement meat grinder. That's a little long.
That's a little
way more accurate.
Help me out. How come we're so bad at marketing? We have all of the marketing professionals. And
everyone
so bad at it.
And so, I mean, we could just say that we're going to build it back better. How's that?
Build it back more, better good.
Build back more, better good.
Yeah, if you're
the criminal justice system.
And that was.
I also sorry, real quick, I was thinking of something recently about the build back better. I was like, if you throw a little pause in there, it's actually pretty good. It's like build back better. And you're like, build back, but better. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's 4 B's. That's even better. You get an extra B in there. Build back, but better.
Khalif Browder is the chat saying is the kid that was the backpack kid. Khalif
Thank
Browder.
you, chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Read up on his story about how the justice system has failed. Just
Yeah.
person after person after person, innocent people. I mean,
Yeah.
even if he stole the back, let's say he stole the backpack. Jiminy Christmas,
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
to touch on a little bit about what you said as well, AJ, the death penalty is not a deterrent. That has been shown time and again. It doesn't deter people from doing the kinds of things that would get you the death penalty, because those kinds of things you already have to be at a certain level of screw loose. Because it's not just regular murder, right? It's always mitigating circumstances that require the death penalty. So these are people who are doing things outside of even what you would consider to be extreme crime. It is, when you read the offenses, you're like, ooh, goo.
Yeah.
That's tough to even read.
Yeah, I just don't feel like there's any serial killers sitting at home thinking like, geez, man, they executed another one. Should probably,
I should
probably wrap this up.
Stop stabbing co-eds. How do you feel, Cindy? Stab, stab, stab.
Yeah, he's like, oh, can I take this back? Oh, I just heard about another guy that died. I don't know if this is for me, actually.
Yeah, this Trump guy is serious. Oh, moratorium on murdering my neighbors between now and 120. Biden
but also
2020.
To get back to what you were saying at the beginning of the segment, which is, I think one of the more appalling aspects of this right now is Donald Trump's seemingly bizarre ramp up on this. I mean, why?
It's to show his constant striving to be a tough guy. I'm a tough man's man. And what is tougher than, and that was one of the things I was going to say, is that, here's the thing. Okay, so death penalty is legal. That's not going to change between now and 120, right? I feel like there should be some caveats. He has to cage match with these gentlemen.
Like in the old days.
And to the death. Yeah. So if you kill him in the cage match, because you're making this, this is your order. You are ordering this.
Yeah,
so
macho man.
Yeah, hop in the cage and we'll give him a try.
Underdome.
Right?
You box that guy out?
I just meant more like gladiator style.
So
we'll give him a trident, we'll give him a net, and a mask.
Yeah.
Like, because the other guy should be at a disadvantage.
Because Corona, give you a mask.
Yeah, I get it. 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. Like, right? Yeah.
And if the guy in death row wins, I mean, he still goes back to prison, right?
Sure. Does he not win his freedom?
No.
Does he not become
win your freedom?
The president
he becomes the president?
I told you were more liberal than me. All right.
Yeah.
So, Bernie also said abolish the death penalty. He got a few thousand people to also chat on there. There was a false equivalency running around about abortion. We're not going to get into that on this topic. I was actually not planning to get into any of the real heavy hitters in our first 10 episodes, and death penalty is one of those. I think it's just because it's way too relevant. We are currently, in the name of the American people, murdering people. Just putting people to death in the name of America. Your tax dollars at work. So, and I think also, if there's even one person in America who's like, hey, I don't really want to fund killing people.
Yeah.
I don't care what they did. And maybe that's you, AJ. Like, I may be talking about you right now. And maybe Jared. Maybe I'm talking about everybody on this call except for me. But basically,
I can say I certainly don't want any of my tax dollars paying for that. At the same time, I certainly don't want to privatize the death penalty either.
No. Jiminy Christmas. If there was a profit motive for
that's a hard thing there.
Yeah, oof.
But certainly abolish
camera running that red light, death penalty. Yeah, and one of the things I was saying, like, I'm pro death penalty in the not the practical sense, because we're terrible at it in the principle, and don't want to touch on abortion in this episode. Maybe we will at some point.
Send that one on to the
but stop
down
saying,
the line.
why do you believe in abortion when we're talking about the death penalty? They're two separate issues.
It's a totally separate thing.
With the fact that right now we are killing adults in the name of the American people.
Yeah. and not just killing adults in the name of the American people, like we do like across the sea, but like killing people that are Americans. Killing Americans.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, technically, they lose all their rights once they go to prison, and they're also, you know, they're unarmed combatants. It's like, again, that goes back to the Thunderdome idea. Is it's like, you know, then
just arm
yourself in imminent danger, and then we can have a discussion about whether you're allowed to stand your ground or not.
2 men enter, 1 man leave.
The more and more I talk about that, the more I like it as an idea.
I love it.
It's getting better. We're building.
Hashtag Thunderdome.
Yeah, Thunderdome 2020.
I'm gonna add that in post.
There you go.
So just a couple more things as we have gotten to the end of our time here today. 0 out of 5 figs for the death penalty.
Yeah, 0. Agreed. And also our application of it. Still, that's a -1 figs.
Right.
Yep.
You owe me figs.
You owe me figs.
2, I want to apologize to AOC.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
That we have run out of time and we won't be able to have her on tonight. She's
gonna be disappointed. Yeah, I promise we'll get you on.
We'll find a time where it makes sense. So thank you for that. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, and you can like us on Facebook. And most of all, you can show up and just chat with us on any of these. Watch those places for our next episode. We will tease it and tear it apart. And, of course, our upcoming holiday episode.
Special.
Jingle the bells. Jingle the bells.
Thank you,
I am so excited to do a holiday special. I can't even stand it. Wait till you see my sweater.
All right, everybody. Thanks a lot.